With the 31st pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, your Kansas City Chiefs select Kansas State defensive end Felix Anudike-Uzomah. How about it, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com, and it has been a long night of draft coverage. Just wrote an article for Arrowhead Addict on this pick. Just got done with my live stream, which was 3 hours long, covering the first round of the NFL Draft. But I wanted to make one more quick video before I sign off for the night, talking about this pick for those of you who weren't in on my live stream, just so you don't have to fast forward through 3 hours of a video to get my take on this pick. Just wanted to get my thoughts out on this. I think this is a really good pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this was the safest pick, the smartest pick that they could have made considering everything that happened. If you were there on my live stream, you know that we were watching as the board was falling fantastically for the Kansas City Chiefs. By pick 20, it looked like they could get just about any wide receiver they wanted, or a really elite edge prospect in this draft, like a Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith lasted all the way up until the Philadelphia Eagles at 30, which I think everyone watching the draft, everyone following the draft knew that Nolan Smith was going to come off the board to Philadelphia. It was just too good to be true for Kansas City because it's the Eagles, man. Like, they just know how to do this draft thing, and they're putting together the Georgia defense in the NFL. I mean, they had gotten Jalen Carter earlier in the night. How the hell does the NFL let the Philadelphia Eagles get Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the same round like that? That is ridiculous. I think the Eagles won the night by far. If you were to pick like a winner of round one of the NFL draft, I think it's got to be the Eagles. Them getting Nolan Smith was it was not surprising. But nonetheless, wide receiver didn't fall quite well for the Chiefs. We thought they could get somebody. The board was falling really well at first, and then Jackson Smith and Najigba went off the board, and then after that, just a big run on wide receivers, and the Chiefs weren't able to get anybody. Brett Veach talked about how there were some AFC teams that kind of blocked them from trading up. And honestly, I definitely think he's referring to that run on wide receivers where the Los Angeles Chargers picked and then Baltimore picked. They both picked wide receivers, Quentin Johnston and Zay Flowers. I think the Chiefs wanted to move up there, but they just couldn't because of the teams that were picking. There was no way they were going to trade with the Chiefs, especially when they also needed a wide receiver. So that's just the way the board fell, man. They couldn't find a good spot to trade up. It just didn't work out that way. So they played it smart. They stood pat. And they got a really good edge prospect in Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I had a second-round grade on FAU, but there's not as many first-round grades as there is first-round picks. So that's just kind of how it went. And the Chiefs still end up with a really good edge prospect in FAU. He's really solid. Again, I would have ideally liked him in like the second round, or like you trade down and get him in the second round. But picking him at 31, like it's not a bad pick. The Chiefs did what they had to do there. And FAU, I love him because he instantly walks into this defensive end room and he's the bendiest guy. You could put him up there with Karlaftis as like the most athletic guy in this DN room. I mean, Armenahu's up there athletically too, but neither of those guys have the bend of FAU. And if you've been following me in my draft coverage, I've been pounding the table for a defensive end with bend. Steve Spagnuolo, usually he does not employ defensive ends that have a ton of bend, but with Joe Cullen being in the room now, the defensive line coach, I think he has some influence, and I definitely think he had some influence on this pick as well. Because if you look at FAU's measurables, he doesn't have a huge frame. He's definitely a smaller defensive end compared to what Spags likes. He's about 6 foot something, and then 250 pounds. He's not super big, but really good agility, really good flexibility. Again, the bend. I love the bend that he brings. He just knows how to get after it, man. 8.5 sacks at K-State last year. Really produced. K-State played him inside a lot last year. You could almost say that they misused him a little bit, and despite that, he still really produced. You can go look at his 2021 film if you really want to see some good stuff. I'll probably do a film review on him later on this week after the draft is wrapped up to give you guys a closer look at him with me. But I like this pick. I mean, he's tenacious. He's got a high motor. He's not the greatest run defender, but I think that will come in due time. Sometimes it's really just because he over pursues. It's not like he can't defend the run at all or like he's physically incapable. He's got long arms, 33.5-inch arms, so he can engage and disengage with blockers. I think he'll come along as a run defender. For now, as a rookie, I foresee him kind of having a pass rush specialist role, kind of being a co-starter per se, with Charles and Menahue on the other side of the line while Karlaftis holds it down on the other. And then I would say on those earlier downs, you're going to see guys like Mike Dana and Charles Omenihu come in for playing the run and setting the edge. And then Brett Veach talked about how Charles Omenihu can play inside. Mike Dana, we've seen him play inside too. I think those are guys you could see kick inside on pass rushing downs, and then in comes Felix Anudike-Uzomah on those pass rushing downs. And so you have like a pass rushing set of Karlaftis, Omenihu, Chris Jones, and FAU, and that's really solid. I mean, the Chiefs, look, they scratched off the need tonight. They scratched off the big need, erased a lot of doubt about one of their positions of need. You got a solid top four now with Karlaftis, Omenihu, FAU, Mike Dana. Yeah, that's really solid. You can work with that. And then even if you don't feel great about your defensive end room coming out of this draft, there's still veterans sitting out there that you can pick up. And also, I wouldn't rule out the Chiefs picking up another high upside pass rusher later in this draft in the later rounds, just depending on how things work out. But this is a nice baseline to have. You came out of day one in this draft with a really solid prospect, a guy that filled the need. I just wanted the Chiefs to come out at night filling one of their big needs, whether it was offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge. They did it with edge. Cool. I'm happy with it. And I'm happy that the pick wasn't Keon White. I'm also happy that it wasn't DeJuan Jones. The Chiefs didn't pick anyone in the first round tonight that I was like, they shouldn't take him. When I made my defensive ends video, I mean, FAU, he's one of the guys I talked about as guys that I liked kind of in the first round. Well, I don't even know if I said first round, but I mean, they took him in the first round. It's not bad value. I didn't have a first round grade on him again, but it's really not bad value. And the way the board fell, the Chiefs just kind of took the player that they were comfortable with, and there's nothing wrong with that. FAU is a good player, guys. It's also just really cool to see that they drafted a local guy, as FAU is from the Kansas City area, grew up rooting for the Chiefs, went to K-State, a local school, and drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs as they are hosting the draft in Kansas City. What a story. But all in all, I mean, successful first night of the draft for the Kansas City Chiefs. And since they didn't trade up tonight, they still have their second, third, and 2 fourths. So you could maybe see some movement tomorrow, see them move up for a guy that they like tomorrow since they weren't able to move up tonight. I'm glad that they were able to keep their full arsenal of picks and still get someone they like at the end of the first round. I'd say things worked out pretty well. This is a successful first night of the draft. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the pick? Do you agree, disagree with me? Also, sorry for the subpar audio quality. I apologize. My mic went out while I was making this, but hopefully the next video I make, I'm back using my other mic that sounds a lot better, but I appreciate y'all sticking it out with me. So yeah, let me know what you think of the pick in the comments. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good night. Go Chiefs!